Jaden, National Signing Day 2023. How does it feel to be a Bulldog?
Feels great. Waited for this moment. Dreamed about it since I was a little kid. I've always wanted to play at the college level. So yeah, I'm super hyped.
Yeah, awesome. You and I have been working through this process, and I think, you always would ask, hey, this time, and I would always tell you, be patient. Your time will come, and things will work itself out. How does it feel now? Looking back on like late post, your season, and not a lot of people are giving you a lot of love, and all of those things that kind of create doubt to now, looking back, what advice do you have, and, how did it help you in life in general?
Yeah, I mean, I was stressing, I was getting anxious for no reason, but some advice that I would give to other people is that, like, nothing's more perfect than God's timing. So I mean, if you just trust the process, trust what God has in store for you, then you'll be just fine.
Amen to that. I agree with that. That's fantastic. And, what was it about Fresno State? Because you could have walked on anywhere. Just you have the ability to play at that level. And, I've talked about that. But what made Fresno State, as soon as you knew that they were serious about you being a PWO, say, I'm in?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've grown up in Clovis, Fresno, and I've always went to their games and stuff, love the energy. But this year, earlier in the year, they invited me to a game for a little on-field thing, and then got to go and meet some of the coaches and all that. And so I fell in love with it right there, like just being on the field next to like the players and see the environment that they thrive in and stuff. And then I didn't hear too much from them for a little bit, but a few weeks ago, I got called into. Well, Coach Joe, he actually tried to scare me. He's like, get out of class, and he's like, take your stuff, and then he's like, you got something to tell me? And then I'm like, no. I'm like, all right, come on, tell me. And then he's like, no, I just need you to help me move some boxes. And so I was like, all right. And so I moved the boxes and the tendos from the weight room, and I come in here and see you and Coach Baxter. I was like, oh, and I was like, this is why he told me to be at school. And so, I mean, I sat down with Coach Baxter and you, and he was just telling me that he thinks, like, I just need an opportunity. And I mean, I've always known that, like, I've always bet on myself. I can do anything I put my mind to if I work hard enough and all that. So I was just so thankful for him believing in me, someone finally believing in me. And he invited me on a visit the next Saturday, or the next day, but it was Saturday. So I got there at about 10, and then we went through, we were playing some ping pong before the visit started with me and Jelon and stuff, and then we went up to the suite at the top of the stadium, got to see the view of the field. It was super cool. And then went back down and saw the facilities, saw the weight room, got a little presentation of how their weight program, nutrition, all that works.
Nice.
And then we went over to the rehab facility where they have like this cool pool for recovery, and then the zero gravity running, and their own personal doctor and pharmacy in there. It's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then after that we headed over and watched some film with our position coaches, kind of explained how the defense works.
Who's your position coach?
JD, JD.
Yeah.
And so we did all that, kind of showed us how certain players work, so what types of players work in different positions and stuff. And so after that, we went and tried on some gear. That was super cool. Yeah. So yeah, I got a little photo shoot done, and then we waited for a little bit while other players were meeting with Coach Tedford, and then I got called into his office, and he was explaining how many guys they can take and how limited spots there are, and how I earn a position, what I have to, or how I earn a scholarship from being a walk-on, what I have to do and stuff. And after we got all that talked about, then he went ahead and offered me a preferred walk-on. And me and my family we talked about Fresno State the night before and weeks before. Yeah. And pretty much made our decision just in case they were to offer me. And so right when he offered me, I committed on the spot.
Nice.
And yeah, signed today, and it's all good.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, that happened fast for you, right? So that happened Thursday when Coach Bax, you and I sat down. That happened Thursday. Then the visit was on what, Saturday?
Yeah.
It was on a Saturday. It might have been a Friday to a Saturday.
We met
went
Friday.
on Friday,
Yeah.
and then you visit Saturday, committed on the spot on Saturday,
Yeah.
and then now you sign. Now go back, go back in your history and just talk about like your maturation and talk about like why. And I love how you say it because I'm a firm believer in it. Why do you have the mindset I'm gonna bet on myself? Why, when you're the same way as Jelon was, we could have got you to any Division II in the country, but why pass all of those things up, all the money on the table to say, you know what, I'm gonna bet on myself?
I mean, I don't know. If I were, I've always believed I was a Division I guy. I know my abilities and my work ethic, what I'm capable of when I work super hard at something, and I don't know. I feel like if you're not like a little intimidated by your goals and like they're not really that big or not big enough for you, and so I feel like why not take like a big challenge and stuff. So
Sure.
Yeah.
For sure. No, I love it. And I think, I think for you is, and I told you this and I mean this, that when I was coaching Division I football, you could have played for me for sure, without a shadow of a doubt. So I think, let's talk about your ankle injury and how, again, like God has his ways, right? And you've talked about that, but you go into game one, like you have a pretty bad ankle sprain, you're not 100%, so your film isn't just like pop like I know it should.
Yeah.
So talk about that. Talk about just the frustration, right? The lows, and then talk about the highs.
Yeah, I mean, it was frustrating. It's 2 weeks before the biggest game of my life. So that was super frustrating, but I mean, I have goals. I couldn't let the ankle injury stop me, so I just did as much recovery as I could and just pushed through it for the season. It got better like mid-season, so
Yeah.
I was feeling good mid-season, but I had goals to reach and I couldn't let my ankle stop me. I knew it wasn't, like, it was pretty bad, but like
Yeah.
it wasn't bad enough to keep me out, so I just taped
sure.
it up every game, every practice, and
For sure.
went on.
Well, and talk about this, because they probably went through your mind, like, I'm going to sit out all of these games to save myself because of my recruiting, right? So talk about that. You didn't sit out and you still got recruited, right? And you still got to go to your dream school. So talk about that. Is that a decision you're happy that you made or not?
No, yeah, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm happy since, I mean, even if, like, honestly, I just didn't want to sit out. I was trying to get recruited, so it was the best of both worlds. I got to play
Sure.
game I love, and I got an opportunity to play at the next level.
For sure.
For my hometown school, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, now last little piece here is talk through your experience at Clovis High and talk through, especially this year, how you feel like this program is going to prepare you for that level.
Yeah, for sure. This year, a whole new structure was put in, some that actually builds people, and I'm super thankful for the staff that's came in, for you, provide structure to the team, and basically if you're not willing to put in the work, you won't survive. It's just like how they talk about it in college. I mean, I haven't been to college yet, but that's how they've always talked about it. It forces you to push yourself to the next level physically and mentally. Mentally is honestly, I would say that's the biggest part. Just pushing through, like, the pain, the being tired. We have to wake up at 6 a.m. sometimes when it's hot, still got to get the work in. But I mean, the best part of it's doing it with all your homies, your brothers, so get to hype each other up and support each other, keep each other going when one's tired, one's not wanting to work and stuff. So that's
sure.
my favorite part.
Absolutely. What does a Red Wave have to look forward to in Jaden Carrillo?
My work ethic. I'll be working.
That's
for
right.
Sure.
That's right. Love it. Well, congratulations, bud.
Thank you.
Can't wait to watch you.
Thank you.
How's it feel to be a Bulldog?
Man, it feels wonderful. It's like amazing. It's like a dream almost come true. And again, ever since being a little kid and playing football, I've always just wanted to just play at the college level, maybe even beyond that. So having this in front of me and be able to sign this today, it feels great.
Yeah. So how did this process work out? Like, who contacted you from Fresno State? How did this whole thing go down?
Okay, so initially started with my freshman year. I had talked to a couple. I think I spoke with Coach Baxter originally there, and then we talked, and we had like a little introduction meeting. It was nice meeting him. And then next year, I didn't really keep in touch with Fresno State like that. Same with my junior year. But then once my senior year came, and it was like, I guess what had happened was they had kind of said that they didn't think that I was interested in staying in hometown, which wasn't true. But like, I guess you could kind of like get that arrangement kind of deal. But yeah, so then I had spoke with Coach Baxter just a couple this last year, and he was like, "We really like you, and it'd be if." So basically, he told me that I have to get to a certain point where my grades and my studies and stuff, in order for them to even think about me coming over there, and I had successfully got my stuff all together by the time that I needed to, and they said I had a visit, and I went down there, spoke with some coaches. I got to meet the O-line coach and talk to him. And
The new one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was like, "I really like you. You're lengthy. I like guys that are lengthy and long." And he was just like, "Make sure that you stay low. I'm gonna be on you about that." It's like, okay. And then after that, I spoke with Coach Tedford, and he said that he basically broke down to me how their whole recruiting process works and how many guys they can take and can't take. And then after that, he offered me a preferred walk-on, and that was like the best news ever. And so once I went home, me and my mom, we discussed it, went over about financially and stuff, and we decided that that'd be a good place for me to
Sure.
go.
Yeah, for sure. You know, and I think I can speak to this. I think a lot of people look at a PWO, and nowadays with the transfer portal, and those are just as valuable as scholarships. So it's an honor, man, and again, it's a top 25 program in the country. The fact that you get to go play there and develop there under that staff who has a history, you know, Coach Teffers.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know because you're a little young, but my time coming up when he was at Cal, he was just an NFL factory. And that's what Fresno State will be here pretty soon. Is the same. So, you know, let's go back to your visit. Let's talk about what was that experience like. You know, what they show you. What's it look like a D1 place?
Man, freaking. Initially, when I first walked in, just that hallway, walking down it, there's just pictures of a whole bunch of guys everywhere, signed pictures. There's autographs from people. It's kind of the same thing, but there's just
Guys in the
it's
NFL.
just yeah, it's just you just can't even explain it. Just seeing it, it's just amazing. And then once I got to walk in down the hallway and then go upstairs into like a bigger kind of room. And in that room they had like their trophies, and they had like what else did they have? They had all the coaching offices and rooms and stuff, and they had like this big wall on like the back, and inside of it there's like some glass trophies in there, and they had like a statue of like their bulldog in the room. So that was all nice. And then after that, they took us all and we went for a drive up to the stadium, and we got sat inside of like a room, and we like watched. We got to look down through like a glass window of the field. It's gorgeous. It's freaking. I've never seen nothing like that before. It was freaking huge.
Awesome.
And then after we had left, we went down. We went inside their weight room facility. They had like a grass turf. Yeah, turf in the background. So that was kind of sick.
Yeah, that's where you're gonna spend most of your time.
Yeah, and the weight room was nice. They had a whole bunch of equipment. I saw the Tendos in there.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I was like, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then after that, we went inside the rehab facility. They had like a indoor pool, a hot tub, like a running cold machine, like they had like a running thing where it's like zero gravity. That looked cool.
That's awesome.
But and then after that, we had all grouped back together inside of the room that we started at, and that's where each of the guys broke off individually. Spoke with the coaches, and I spoke with the O-line coach, and he showed me some film, and basically told me about how because he was still evaluating the film since he was new there, so he was just like, yeah, this is what I'm gonna have to correct them on, this and that, and this is how basically we run things. And he's like, there's 5 key points of football, and it was your hands, your eyes, feet, your stance, and I can't remember the last one. I think
It'll be engraved in you before you
yeah,
leave.
but yeah, there was 5 things that he told me to basically that he's gonna keep enforcing on us.
Sure.
And then after that, we went down into like another different room. They gave us a presentation with their like learning lady, I guess you would say, and she like told us that her department, she works with our classes and she helps us get us into like different things like time management that we can manage during season and out of season, and like they're gonna keep us up with our grades and about like study hours and stuff.
Got a lot of support.
Yeah.
What you're saying, yeah.
And yeah, that was just. And then after that, we went over into my favorite part, which was the gear.
Yeah.
And we got to put on some gear and take
Yeah.
pictures. So that was basically.
It's cool.
Yeah.
The gear is cool.
Mhm.
It'll fade away though as you start grinding.
Oh yeah.
You know, I think the main thing that you're gonna appreciate about that staff is that staff has been there. They know what they're doing. They have longevity. You know, I think Coach Tedford has a history of developing great players. Obviously, your recruiting coach, Coach Baxter, has a great history of developing just great players and having a great special teams unit. To be honest with you, my best advice to both you guys that are going there is you get on special teams. You become best friends with Coach Baxter, because that's your way to get on as fast as you can to get on the field. Now, you and I sat down and we talked with a couple coaches from different schools.
Yeah.
In fact, a Division II school came down, I can't remember, just a couple days ago and said, I'm going to offer you a full scholarship. Okay, so what made you decide to turn down all those, even 100% money at Division II school, to walk on at Fresno State?
I think that I turned those down to stay at walk on at Fresno State just because it was closer to home, and it was like I had already kind of built a relationship with the coaches there at Fresno State. So if I was kind of I felt to me if I was to flip my decision and go somewhere else, that wouldn't be fair to them and all their time, and like basically how Coach Baxter came in and had helped me and walked me through all the process and stuff.
For sure.
If I was basically just to tell him kind of like,
For sure.
I'll switch off and go somewhere else, that just wasn't gonna sit right with me. So I was like, I think it would be right if I just stayed here at Fresno State.
That's a good man. That's a good man. Yeah, I think, a shout out to Coach Baxter. He sat down with Jelana and I and went through his entire core, worked it all up, came back, he followed up. And to be honest with you, even though it's just a walk-on, it's a big deal. And Coach Baxter recruited us, this school, the hardest for sure. Right? He was Fresno State was the team we saw the most. Right? Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah.
And he was always following up and always doing a great job making sure that you're on track, and he will still continue to follow up and make sure that you're on track. Well, I'm excited for you. I'm excited for your future. I think the last thing I want to kind of lead off on, talk about our program and how you feel like our program has helped you. Because you and I and this program, we've been through some trials and tribulations. But how has this program helped you and helped prepare you for this moment?
I think this program has helped me a lot because I felt like being in this program held me to a much higher standard, and it made me become much more disciplined. And because I say that because it was more straightforward, like if you weren't going to do this, then this was going to happen. And it was more of like the old programs was kind of like this would happen, but then overall something would change. And then so it was kind of like if this happens, it's going to stay that way. So I kind of like that, and it made me be more reliable. It made me be more honest, because I mean you can't skip the work, you can't get out of it, so it's like you kind of have to go down and go do it and get after it. And in this program, freaking every day we're freaking getting after it, working out. We were going to freaking practice in the afternoon, staying to freaking 6, almost 7 sometimes, and freaking it was, I mean, you can't complain about it. You're just getting better out there, so it was good. And another thing about this program is when we're inside the weight room and stuff, I feel like everybody's just connected. We're all together. Everybody's juicing each other up. There's nobody putting anyone down, so it's always good spirits, high spirits, and everyone's together, and it just brought positive vibes overall, I think.
Good. Well, we're excited to watch you. I'm going to be a Fresno State's biggest fan. Congratulations. Appreciate you, Jay.
Thank you, Coach Wilkins.